What did you do?
So here's what I did, which is not really, I did not play a board game, but
He put on goggles and didn't go anywhere. No, I'm just kidding.
we're going to talk about it because there are at least 2 or 3 that I know of board games that are being released in the future.
Well, there's the new series, isn't it? Like there's a werewolf one, and then there's the new
right, and then
cat. Didn't they announce one that's like in a manor or something?
yeah, I think that's a separate company though.
Oh.
I could be wrong.
Okay.
Or at least there is at least one other one from a
Oh, I
separate
thought
company
there was a
too.
series.
I think that one is a series.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on of escape the room
Mm-hmm.
puzzle boxes experiences. This was the first time I went to one, a real one in real life, a real one, one that you actually have to go
He's
to.
been to fake ones in an alleyway.
Yeah.
It's just a cardboard box.
I mean, yeah, they all are basically that. But with a group of people in New York City, you pay money, you go into a room, and you have to solve puzzles to basically find a key to get out. And the one that we did was a time travel themed one, which is pretty cool. And it was also one of their hardest rated
What
ones.
was the name of the place? I'm just so people.
If I could remember it, I'm pretty sure it's like X Room. But it's so generic. It's like X Room Escape Room in New York City. There's only a couple. I think it was in Chinatown or near Chinatown. So this is what we did, and there were 6 of us, and ours actually had 2 rooms. So and you have an hour.
Boom?
No boom though, just 2 rooms. They give you 60 minutes to get out, and you have a walkie-talkie, and you get 5 hints that you can ask for through it at any time you want if you're stuck. And we were stuck quite a bit. We did not escape successfully. We did not get out, but overall it was a really cool experience.
Do you know how far you made it? I'm just curious.
Well, we got through the first of 2 rooms, but we kind of like just scratched the surface of the second room. There was
Okay, so it wasn't like you're about to.
No, we had a ways to go, and we got a lot of hints. So like we were not the cleverest bunch.
Did they make you take a photo? Because I usually see.
They didn't make us, but we accepted to take have a wall of winners and losers. So it might be up somewhere on. They said they're going to post it on their Facebook at some point. But if you know,
we'll probably tweet it as soon as we.
We'll do that too. But for people who like the reason I was excited about it, I love point and click games like Myst.
No, you love puzzles in general, yes.
And 999 on the 3DS or PSP, which is this concept, and there's other games like that. The one thing that I realized from this that I do not like about it that is not unique to this place that I think all of them do is that 60-minute time limit. That really was which ironically that's kind of the appeal because that's the driving force. That's what makes it tense and exciting. But what I really like about video game versions of these, or even in some board games like maybe Time Stories or something, when you can kind of come back to it the next day and like think about it for a while.
Well, that was actually. I want to try one of these still.
Yeah.
But for me, this is one of the reasons I asked how far you got. What would be my issue is, like you said, you barely scratched the surface of Surf 2. Oh, time's up. So, do you want to pay again or like?
Right. No, that's he actually offered and he actually explained the guy who was running it how all the puzzles were solved. So now I know how you can speed that room now. But it's for me it was just kind of
how complicated were the puzzles? Don't actually say it in case.
Right.
Would you say like?
Some of them were fairly complicated. Most of it was involved. There were a bunch of locks, and you had to find the codes to unlock to get stuff.
Is it so? It's more numbers, or is it like trivia related, or?
Certainly not trivia. A couple of them were very clever. Maybe I'll tell you after this.
Yeah, no. We don't. We're not. I want to keep this spoiler free.
There wasn't anything like you didn't have to do any actual mathematics. But like, if you are familiar with like Professor Layton,
yes, yeah,
a lot like that kind of a thing,
right?
A couple of them were like, oh, you think that you have to do all this complicated stuff, but really, like, oh, if you look here, it's like a distraction or something. But the puzzles, some of them were very clever and creative. If there was another criticism I would give this particular place, the atmosphere the budget wasn't the best. It was a time machine themed. Some of it was cool, like you heard audio logs of the time captain, but some of it was like this is like IKEA furniture, and like sometimes it was literally just they drew on a thing with like a Sharpie and filled in with the stuff. So I could, like, if it was cool, like, because like if I made it, it would be amazing.
What I think is
when you're paying $30.
Coming to the lock room idea is what's coming up is the VR. Like, not specifically for lock rooms, but you know how I forget. I think there's already some places that do it, where you can put on VR and they actually like make rooms that will map it out, so you actually like think you're carrying a lantern and stuff.
Right.
And,
there's
like,
one place, and I think it's in LA or something,
right,
where you can do that.
And I've seen like them suggesting for you can actually be laser tag, but real thing. But imagine a locked room. Like you could have the same flat. You know, it's not really the actual. The furniture and stuff, it's very basic gray, but you have the goggles on, so you can change it to look like, if you want, ancient temple or time machine or.
Well, that would be good as long as you can see other people.
Well, yeah. What I would probably
have a camera.
Do in it is maybe everyone has models in there, like you can just see where people are, and it would probably be a chain because they probably design their rooms. They're, let's say, like 5 different rooms. And that way they can just build the same shape in like New York, LA, Houston. Mm-hmm. But I think that would be definitely a good way to also maybe freshen up and change things, keep it cleaner.
Right. No, true. And the other thing, talking about the people, that's my other kind of nitpick with it, is the inherent problem with doing this with like a group is a lot of times you're either left out because there's only so many puzzles for people to solve, or you just don't know how to solve them, or you're the one doing all the work, and
right.
It's hard to find a balance.
It sounds like it's definitely the easiest way to balance that one. It's not the group's fault. I mean, the company's fault.
Right.
It's the group size.
That's what I.
And in particular, the people in the group, because I can think of, for example, probably if considering some of the people we usually hang out with. I can easily see certain people taking the charge and certain people choosing to just sit down.
Right.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to know the people in your group, and I wouldn't say that's too bad of a thing, except for the fact you're paying $30 and you're on a time limit.
Well, I think what they should do is have specific rooms, like this one's for 4 players, this one's for 8 players.
And I think the VR could handle that, though.
Yeah.
Like, you can program that so you can still have, you can still have 3 rooms, and you can switch them up, so you don't have to be like, oh, the 5-player room is busy right now. I'm sorry, you can't.
Right. Also, a more asymmetrical stuff would be good. So it's like you can't solve this puzzle unless one person's on this side and one person's on this side, and you both have to press a button or something to force people to work together. So you can't just be like, you do that puzzle, I'll do this puzzle.
No, I think that would actually be, what you could also do would be really cool in a VR setting is make it, like if it wasn't, we call it a lock room with 1 room, but you could easily make them 4 rooms like you had 2 rooms. And what if there was something like, okay, someone needs to go back to the last room and pull down the torch.
Yeah.
And while we're holding down the torch or something like.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh, I always want that. You know I'm always going to go to that.
So I am curious, this has been a big trend lately, and I'm very curious to see in board games if it will be even bigger. And if maybe we'll see more commonplace.
Well, I think that it's going to attract people who have our complaints. Because being able to buy 1 copy. Because even then, like, we thought Time Stories were like, oh, we're going to know the story. We've loved it.
Yeah.
And I don't think we regret that at all.
No.
So I don't think, I mean, while we're worried, because and probably also someone has to set up the room, I still think it's a great purchase, especially, for like a Halloween party or something, just.
Yeah.
You can really have, I think.
You have kids, like birthday parties and stuff.
I do think the locked room is a great idea. It's a lot of fun. It has some issues, but I think they're issues that like we've just said, some suggestions that are solvable.
They'll get smoothed out.
I don't think they're things that are.
The concept itself is just too cool.
It's too cool, and I think it's strong enough to beat them.
Yeah. So if you haven't checked any of these out, I recommend it. Although it's some issues, there's lots of different places and different experiences.
Let us know what lock rooms you've been in.
Yes, and what you like about them or don't. If you
made it or not.
Yeah.